Hello there, it is Mac here, and today I'm going to talk about the damage buff to the Combat MG in GTA 5 and GTA Online, and was it really necessary? Now, with Ill Gotten Gains Part 1, Rockstar made a few changes to some of the weapons in the game. Those being the Assault Shotgun. They also made changes to the MG and Combat MG, both increasing their damage to 40 for the MG and 45 for the Combat MG. Now, I made a video on that whenever Ill Gotten Gains Part 1 came out, and this is going to be talking about that. Now, if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the description and have like some card or something where you can go check that out. So, the Combat MG before Ill Gotten Gains Part 1 used to have 32 damage. Each shot would deal 32 damage, which is the same as the Special Carbine, the Bullpup Rifle, and the Carbine Rifle. So, it had 32 damage. But now it has 45 after Ill Gotten Gains Part 1. Now, they also, made a nerf to Assault Shotgun, which I do like that nerf. And I also do like the MG buff, but recently I've been doing a few death matches, and whenever I'm in Own Plus pickups, I am seeing the Combat MG much more often than some of the Assault Rifles. And, that does kind of make sense. I mean, it has more damage. It doesn't have that great of spread, honestly, but it's not terrible. It's not, where you can't manage it. And it's not that much worse than the assault rifles, like the Carbine Rifle, Special Carbine, Advanced Rifle, Bullpup Rifle, and even the Assault Rifle. It isn't that much worse at 5.0. And at the same time, you also have more than over 3 times the amount of ammo. So if you're running around with the Carbine Rifle in an Own Plus Pickups deathmatch, most likely you're going to have extended mags on it. So you're essentially using 60 rounds in a magazine. But the Combat MG, if you also have that in Own Plus Pickups, then you're going to be running around with an extended mag, which has 200 rounds in a magazine, which is a lot. So you're having over 3 times the amount of ammo that a Carbine Rifle user has, with a little bit more spread, but you also have more damage. And, whenever I use this weapon, it just feels a little cheap, because you know that this weapon is, in a lot of ways, superior than the Carbine Rifles, and the Advanced Rifles, and all the Assault Rifles in the game. So essentially what Rockstar has done is made the Combat MG, which, before the update, before Ill Gotten Gains Part 1, I felt like the Combat MG, some people said it was overpowered. I was never really one of those people, I was like, okay, sure, it does, have a lot of ammo in it, but it also has the problem of a spread. It does have that problem of having a lot of spread. So I never really went like, oh, this weapon is super overpowered, because I never really felt that way. I was like, okay, sure, it does have more ammo than like a Carbine Rifle, but it also had the same damage and more spread. So I never really, had a problem with the weapon. But now that it has more damage, it just doesn't feel right. Now, sure, the MG, I did like that buff. Just the standard MG, I liked it because it used to deal 30 damage. Now, with 40, it is slightly better. But then you have, at the same time, you have the Combat MG, which just overshadows the MG in every possible way. So then you're like, well, what's the point of using the MG? Why'd they even buff the MG? That's my question. Because there's no reason to even use the weapon. Why even, and it was also weird that they actually changed the weapons at all. Like, sure, the Assault Shotgun makes sense. The weapon getting nerfed made sense. What they did was they made the weapon only shoot 6 pellets, and the range drop-off is between 5 and 40 meters instead of 10 to 40 meters. People have been talking about the Assault Shotgun and how overpowered the weapon was, because you could essentially use that weapon and you wouldn't need any other shotgun, because it had good damage. It also had pretty good range. It was the same range as like a regular shotgun, or a sawed-off shotgun. It didn't have that bad of spread, and it also fired faster than all of them. So you didn't have to be that accurate. Even with any shotgun, you really don't have to be accurate, but you could just put so much shots down range that you don't even really need to be accurate at all. And then you also had a lot of ammo at 32 with extended mags. So, with that weapon, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That weapon made sense. Although what's weird is whenever they talked about it in the patch notes, they didn't even talk about what actually happened on the weapon. They're like, oh, well, the assault shotgun is now less effective at longer ranges. They didn't even change the range on that thing, which was kind of weird. I don't know, like, really, like, why they didn't tell us exactly what changed about the weapons. We actually had to go into the game code and find out what happened to the weapons. They don't tell us, you know, whenever a weapon gets buffed or nerfed, and that may have just been because they don't really change weapons. So whenever Ill-Gotten Games Part 1 came out, I was like, what is this kind of weird? Why are these weapons getting changed? You know, it was kind of hidden in the patch notes. Now, we've only ever really seen this happen twice. One with the homing launcher, which was in the heist update. I think they changed like the reload time and I think the rate of fire or something. I think that was it. And I think in the hipster update they also buffed up tear gas, but nobody really talked about either of those because they were just hidden in the patch notes. And then you also, you know, have this, which also kind of got hidden because it wasn't that significant to a lot of people, because honestly not many people use the combat MG, especially the MG. Nobody really uses that anymore. And you know, sure, some people do use the combat MG, but not before this. I've seen it a lot more afterwards. The one that really got people talking about this was the assault shotgun. And even then, that wasn't that big of a deal, you know. Like, okay, sure, you're shooting 2 less pellets per shot. Isn't that big of a deal, you know, in the grand scheme of things. Because you're still putting down so many shots that it doesn't matter too much. And I just want to make this video to kind of ask you guys, do you think that this weapons buff, you know, to the combat MG was necessary? And I want to talk mostly about the combat MG, because MG, sure, the MG buff was nice, but it's still worse than the combat MG in every possible way. And in the assault shotgun, I think we can all agree that that was a nice change. But I just want to talk about the combat MG, you know, in the comments. So let me know your thoughts on this, you know, in the comments. Do you think that the combat MG really needed a buff? So let me know that in the comments. So I hope you enjoy. Feedback is always appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next video.